Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, we were talking about different types of maps. If my voice is not clear or audible, you can just inform me.
It's clear, ma'am. It's clear.
It's clear. Okay. There are different types of maps that we have discussed in last class. One is normal map. Another one is environmental map. And texture map. Bump map, and finally frame map. So these are all the maps that we have discussed, and out of which some maps already we have discussed. So in the case of a normal map, the RGB information will be converted into an XY plane information. In the case of environmental map, when you have background object, everything that should be kept as such when you are making any applications. For example, when you make some gaming applications, if a person is moving or something, the clouds or the background information, tree, all those things should be kept as such. So the environmental map will be useful to make this. And in the case of an texture map, it estimates the geometric or the color informations, and also it adds more fine details about the objects. And when the object is not smooth, if it has rough surfaces, then we need to go for a bump map. And in the case of an frame map, it's an extension of a bump map, which allows for horizontal and vertical surface variation, and finally we can able to produce these kind of maps. So I think we have discussed these maps. I think in the case of a texture map, there are two different categories or by which we can generate the maps. One is a map texture pattern, and another is a procedural texture method. In the case of a map texture pattern, the texture space will be converted into object space, and then it is converted in an image space. This is a one way, or reverse case also possible, that is commonly used. From image space we are able to construct an object space, and finally we can get the texture space of a particular object. So that we have discussed in the last class. And when it comes to bump maps, the texture maps used to add fine details about whatever the object is present, but it is not addressing the surface, or the if rough surfaces is there, that will not be addressed in the case of texture map. So for displaying a orange or some rough surfaces, then we have to move on to the bump maps, so that the rough surfaces can be produced in a realistic way. So in the case of this mapping, how we are going to do this is, so in the case of an procedural map, we will be using some harmonic functions to generate the random patterns. And when coming to the bump maps, we are going to apply a function called precipitation functions to the surface normal, and then we are going to make the model, we are going to render the corresponding model. And in the case of an frame map also, it's extension of this, we are going to apply the functions to both the surface normal and the local coordinate to get the proper output. For example, in the case if you are making some dress patterns or the cloths what we are having, the thread information should be visible properly. In that case we can go for a frame maps. with the help of a local patterns also we can able to generate it in a proper way. So these are all the different maps that we have. So in our second unit, with this I am completing the second unit. In the second unit we have started with the visual computation in VR, and then we have moved on to the computer graphics components. There we have discussed what is the basics of a computer graphics, why it is required, and what are all the components we have. 5 different components we have discussed. With that 5 different components, we have started different methodologies how those components are working, and we discussed transformations that is used for manipulation. Modeling is the first component. In the case of modeling, how we can generate a 2D or a 3D objects, that is called modeling. And in the case of manipulation, we have used different transformations. We have studied 2D and 3D transformations. Our scaling, rotation, translation, reflection, and shearing are the transformation that we have done so far. And then the third component will be storing. Once whatever we are doing, that should be stored in some devices, some external devices, secondary devices, you are storing it. We are not touching much on the storage devices. And the fourth component is viewing. If you wanted to view the object within a particular region, then it requires a clipping. We have not studied much on clipping algorithm. And then if it's a 3D object, when you wanted to project a 3D object as a 2D object, then it requires projections, and with the help of the projections you can able to view the objects. And the last component is a rendering component. So we have discussed what is the need for a rendering, how we can do a rendering, and different types of maps we have studied. And then we are moving on to our third unit. In the case of third unit, we have interactive techniques. We already studied trackers and all in the first unit itself. We are going to study much more about the tracker and get hand gestures. All those things we will be discussing later after completing the tools part. So they have specified so many tools. So as I told you, you have one assessment which you are going to implement some of the applications of VR. The fourth unit which covers your assignment topics. I think 37 or some batches of students has given, 35 batches are there, and the questions are ready with me. After completing today's lecture, I will be giving you, I will be again at the end of the class, I will be explaining what you have to actually do with that portion. So before talking about these applications, so I will be discussing about a tool. So there are many tools available for performing this. So I'm going to talk about the Unity tool. Whatever tool you are comfortable, you can use it. Just I will give you an outline of an Unity tool, and then I will explain you how you can integrate VR with Unity tool, and that will helps you to do your assignments. uh, I will be sharing my screen. Before sharing it, so let me show one more um, uh, one outputs that I have with me. So is my screen, I mean, video is on?
Yes, ma'am, we can see it.
Yes. So I'll just show you. This is a multimedia lab record that I have done 20 years back. So just I wanted to show how the rendering outputs are there. So you can able to see it was used in 3D Studio Max. Can you able to see the picture? I, it's in mirror.
Yes, ma'am, somewhat.
Okay. So some logos have been created and different renderings have been performed with this, and these are all the wireframes. With the help of wireframe, we can able to generate the final rendered image. This is in one exercise, and the other exercise which uses TV news opening. So there's some effects, lighting effects and renderings have been applied with the again the same 3D Studio Max software, and with the Flash, a simple game has been developed. It's a very simple game, so you don't try to do the same thing, because just for reference, I'm just showing you. It's with a Flash. It has been performed. So now we are moving on to our content. Just I wanted to show something to you. Now we will move on to the our Unity software. So this is the Unity software framework, or the outline that you have. How many of you know already have worked on this software? I think 2-3 people already said they have prior knowledge on it. Others, it's new, or already you are aware of this?
Like we know
It's
about
new,
it.
ma'am.
It's new. We know about it, but it's new.
Yeah, we haven't
I
used
mean,
it.
you have not worked on the software. I mean,
Yes, ma'am.
you have not explored it, because if you have not explored it, I can explain you each and every tab which is present here, or else I can directly move on to the high level. That's why I'm asking it. So let me explain with the basic level.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So I think my screen is visible to you. I have opened it. You can install Unity. What the version I am using is 2020. It's a latest version of Unity is installed here. So you can see the uh, once you open it, it is like this. You can see this area. I'm just showing whatever this area. This area is called screen view, and you can see here screen and game. There are two views, screen views and game view is there. The game view is the view, finally it is appearing when you are playing the game. The screen view is the view which is used for designing your games. You can see two objects here. I mean, one dot and another with a shape of like a cloud. It is there. So this objects. This is your camera. When you click it, you can see the main camera. It is positioned with 3 directions, with 3 planes, X, Y, Z plane. And this is the light we are going to produce it. So now you can correlate whatever we have studied in our second unit, computer graphic. All the terminologies are going to be used here. And this area you can call it as an toolbar, and this area is an hierarchy. You can call this as an hierarchy. In what order you wanted to have it. Suppose you are creating an object, the object should be in which order. First screen, what will be the object, next screen, what will be your objects you wanted to have. All those objects you can have it with the order, whatever order you want, you can have it here in the case of hierarchy. And once you have added some object, this inspector will activate it. This inspector will have the informations about if where the object is placed, and whether the transformation, scaling, rotation, or some translations are performed, lighting effect, rendering effect, all those informations will be kept in the inspector. And here you can see at the bottom we have a project window. In the project window, we can include whatever content we wanted, we can, whatever the stuffs we wanted, we can add it here. So let me start with a simple thing, adding a simple object. So you can right click it and you can create a 3D objects, any 3D objects. You can now see a 3D objects which appearing. Once you have inserted an object, you can see the inspector window has the information about those objects. You can see a position. Positions are the translation what we have studied. And rotation, the angle of rotations in the direction it is specified. Scaling is 1. So if you want this object to be in a bigger size, you can increase the object size by changing the scaling factor. You can see the difference. Now the object is doubled. The size of the object is doubled. And when it comes to an what kind of 3D object you are going to create, whether it's a mesh pattern. Defaultly it's a mesh pattern, or we have already studied different kinds of patterns. So you can select what kind of pattern you want, that can be selected. You can see different patterns are available. It can be a quadric or a plane, or it can be a wireframe. Whatever pattern you want, you can select it and you can keep it. Defaultly it's a mesh, objects will be there. And again rendering, with the help of the mesh will be rendered with different parameters are there. Later once you go into depth you will have this. Let us have the default as such, no need to change as of now. And you have another called box collider. If you have two different objects, we have studied hidden surface eliminations algorithm and all. If a box is colliding with another box, if an object is collides with another object, so this information can be tracked from the box collider. Suppose in some cases it requires these two has to touch each other, how it is colliding with each other, those informations can be extracted with the box collider. And materials, as of now we are keeping a standard material, default material. Later after some point of time I will be changing it. So when we take any applications, we are going to create three things, which is very mandatory. One is an object. It can be a gaming objects, or based on the application you can say. So what are all the objects that are required that you need to create first, and those objects needs to be transferred by using some transformations. And the components need to be, these are all the some components we have in the inspector, those components should be set. And once this is done, we will be moving on to the next thing. And when, as I told you, this is now when you click game view, now we are in screen view, we are in the development or the designing phase. We can move on to a camera view, I mean game view, and you can see this will be the output that you can see in your game view. So whatever modification or whatever changes you are performing, that can be reflected in your game view. So you can see earlier you can able to see the objects as a only a cube, you can able to see a face of cube. Now you can see the object, this face is focusing more and you can able to see. So this is the camera and this is the object. Based on that you can able to view the objects. Now you can correlate whatever we have studied earlier. So there are two different techniques or the way by which we can able to view the object. Either the object can be rotated or the camera can be rotated, so that you can view the different views of the objects. So so when we wanted to rotate it and we wanted to see this, so in this case your camera, the camera is kept fixed and you are rotating the objects. So another case, now the object is kept fixed and your camera is rotating. two different ways that we have. You can able to see in the main camera different views you can able to see based on the movements the camera is moving. So either the object can be moved in different direction by fixing the camera in one position, or the vice versa can be done. So you can fix this camera and you can rotate the objects and you can see the different views. Here the tool bar contains different action. This is for move tool is for transformation, rotation and scaling. You can rotate in fixed axis and you can see the difference. When I rotate it, you can see the angle of rotations are changing here in the inspector column with respect to rotation. And the corresponding view you can view it. Okay. So I think this portion is a very preliminary portion that we have here. Now we are going to add more objects onto the screen. With one objects we are talking about, we are going to add more object onto the screen. For adding more object onto the screen, or some color effect or something, if you wanted to give to this object, you can just right click here and whatever objects you want you can add it. It consists of different objects. That objects you can add it there. Now coming to this project window, so you can create a right click and you can create a folder. In the folder you can specify whatever you wanted to specify. You can let it be a color. So just I'm going to make some color, or you can say the property or material, whatever you want, you can specify it. So this, when you double click it, you can see, when you double click it, you can see the material information. It was white color. If you wanted to change the color, so within this you can create material. You can create so within this folder you can create a material. You can see the material color is white. So if you change the color is going to be reflected here. So you can change the color of the material, and also the smoothness. If you don't want a lighting effect, you can remove the smoothness, or if you want more lighting effect, you can increase the smoothness. And different maps, normal map, depth map, all those informations are specified here. We can use it. So now you can use this property here. When you place it, the object will be activated with this property. I'm creating another object. So this will help you. For now, for example, let us take, we have an example, different like a star case we are going to give the output. This is one step you can have. Next step, we wanted to make it as a step, we can just extend its property so that it looks like a step. Suppose you wanted to have a one more step like this. I mean, we are creating a step. So what we are going to do is, you can again create a cube and then it can be pasted, and then you can have a so many cubes, and you can change the properties such that it will be looks like a staircase effect you can provide it. Or you can just copy it and you can paste it or you can duplicate it. So we have duplicated it. So it says we have two cubes. Where are those two cubes? Can you able to see the two cubes here? Only one cube is visible. Reason? See the positions, everything is same for both the cube, which means both the cubes are kept in same place. So you can change this cube. I mean, you can just move this cube somewhere and you can see the other cubes are there. So suppose you wanted to have a different color for this, you can again, you want the same material color should be have for this, you can just copy, drag it and paste it here, it will changes. If you want the same color, you can have as such. Now you can create any number. So how can I create a steps? So with this, we can scale in this direction so that it will be raised. So you can have a feel of looking like some staircase. So it's like a staircase now. It looks like a staircase. Let us consider it's a staircase. So this portion also we can just reduce it. Some way we can create it. So once you create it, you can see, but in your view, it's very, the variations, the distance between these two are huge, but here it looks like same. The reason is because based on the camera view, we are viewing it. So based on that, you have to alter it, and then you can able to see, now you can see the distances are more. Now you see how it is acting. So based on that, you can create it and you can have. So you can create any number of materials you wanted, so that any number of objects can be created. These are all called as an game objects. And for these objects, you can apply any kind of transformations wherever you wanted to keep it, or you can resize the shape and the orientation by applying rotation, scaling, and position. And again, the color, all those things can be changed by adding the material property. With the help of material property, you can change it. Suppose in your game you wanted to have so many objects like this. One more objects I have. Let it be this object I'm making another color. Create with this. Create material. So instead of this color, let me put
Ma'am, there's a circle on the square.
which one?
You need to, if you click on the color thing, that
This
no,
this
ma'am,
is
on
the
top. There's a circle on the square in the middle, right? You need to move the circle there. Yeah.
Now just I'm keeping this color. Okay. Now for the smaller object, I am keeping this color. Two objects we have, one objects with white color, other objects with red color. So in this view, the object itself is very small now. You can able to see two different objects now. This is with this color and this is with another one with the red color. You can see the two objects which is resides there. Now suppose you wanted to make it you wanted to keep this on top of it, two objects which is going to have different colors. So for this we can have another property called free fab, which is called as an prefabrications. You can fabricate two objects such that on the top of this you can append another object, and you can fabricate these two objects into one single object. In your screen, if you wanted two colors or two objects which is kept on top of each other, this is one object, another object are kept on top. You wanted to repeat this sequence every time, you have to create the object and then you have to place it. Instead of that, you can use a prefab. So the prefabs will give you the informations about the prefabricated objects. So here we can go to assets, right click, create a new folder, and you can create a prefab. Prefab is there. You can give any name for the prefab. Sample fab I am keeping. So with this a free fab. So whatever objects you wanted, if you want one object on top of it, you can create it and you can make that as a prefab. It will create a object such that parent, like a parent and a child level objects will be there. So if you want this to be kept under this, you can have the provision to keep this as a parent-child hierarchy also, we can have it. And suppose you wanted to change the orders, you can change it. Now this is the parent and this is the child hierarchy we have created. Like that also you can have a hierarchy. So this free fab will contains the objects what you have along with the another objects. So this, now let us take, so on top of it I am keeping it. On top of it the red color object is present. So this too can be fabbed and you can use wherever you want it. The set as such you can use it instead of creating a different objects and then placing it. When you create a free fab, this can be moved separately and this can be moved. The main advantage of this free fab is, so when you wanted to make a games, you require so many objects. The objects will look like a similar and they may collide with each other. In such cases, you can have you can see the property of this. It has a box colloidal and this also has a box colloidal. We should have a less number of box colloidals. So when you create as in free fab, the box colloidal for these objects will be single. So that will solve the problem. And also when you wanted to use a replica in many places, when you create as a single object, that will be easy for you to use it throughout. And this is just an outline we have created now. So if you play it, nothing will be played because our screen, just we have kept some objects only in the screen. Still the operations or whatever we wanted to do, that does not happen. So for making the game to play, so we need to create some more things. So for that we have to make a script. So here in the case of Unity, it uses C# as a scripting language. So you, with the help of that, you can write your own script and you can try to move the objects here and there. Again, within this, you can create a right click and create. You can see C# script. So if you double click it, it will open it. And then you can add whatever the commands or whatever you wanted, you can add it here. And with this, we can able to perform the operations whatever we wanted. and there is a video. I will share you these 3 videos. This will talks about, this is a video which talks about the basics of Unity. It's almost a 2-hour video, and another one how we can correlate a VR. Till now we have just talked about how to make a screens only. It's not added with VR technology. So how to introduce VR into an Unity, this second video will talks about. It's just a 20 minutes video which explains how to do it. And as I told you, for making any motions or anything you wanted to do, or if you are making a game, or what is the stopping criteria, what will be the score, all those things should be updated. And if you wanted to give a sound effect, everything should be given, so that you can able to get a real feel of playing or using that corresponding application. So for that, scripting is very, very important. Unity has a script reference. In that you will have information about how to use all those uh, tools and all, and with the help you can able to do this. So I will share this PPT. This will be very much useful for you to make it. Now coming back to the assignment portion. So I have assigned whatever we have in our 4th unit, that is assigned as an assignment topic for each and every batches. So if it is an VR in education, you can select any applications. For example, anything you can select it. For example, let us take a simple example. You can demonstrate a time complexity. With the help of sorting, you can demonstrate the time complexity. If a person is viewing it, they can able to see how it is working. So in all the applications, I have given some applications, you can make use of it. I think for one batch, more than one batch will have a same problem. You should coordinate among yourself such that it should not be replicated. Whatever you are going to choose, that should not be chose by the other batch of students. Within the same title is given for more than one batch, you have to coordinate among with them. So one more student, I think Hari something, I'm not sure, he said he is alone. Some of you, those who have 3 students, can accommodate him. If the person is here, here you can see this list, and whoever you wanted, you can accommodate with them. And how long you wanted to, what will be the time duration is required for you to do this. And regarding the how to use Unity, VR in Unity, you can, when you open the projects, it will, you can open a new project, and then you can go to uh, yes, you can just right click here, and you can have an import packages. You can import the VR SDK directly here, and then you can some setting need to be performed, and then you can make those settings when you start a new project, and you can import the packages. VR SDK can be imported, and then you can make your VR applications with using this Unity. Clear?
Ma'am, I have a doubt, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah.
Ma'am, is it necessary to use Unity? Because there are other things that also
Yeah.
provide
That's
VR
why in the
functionality.
initial I have showed you. I'm showing one example Unity. You can make use of any tools. It's not mandatory. You have to use only Unity. It's left to you.
Okay, ma'am.
If you
Thank you.
are comfortable with other tools, Unreal is there. If you are very comfortable with 3D Max, you can use any tools, Maya, all those softwares, you can use it, and you can make applications. It's left to you. And coming to the deadline, today date is 8. So 1 month time. Can we have a 1 month duration for assignment, or you need some more time?
Ma'am, some more
More
time.
time because some of us need to be accustomed
Yes,
to the.
You need
To learn
to
new, yeah.
explore the tools.
Yeah, we'll need
Yes,
to learn a
ma'am.
lot of stuff.
Yeah, obviously. That's why I'm asking your convenience. Probably third week of November, because fourth week your end semester will start. So probably November 15th, can we have it? And also it should be a demo. You are going to show me the demo. Everybody should be here while others are presenting, so that you will get an idea of how they have used or explored some of the applications with the help of those tools. So that will be useful for you to view the others development also. So everybody should be there. So make a convenient time and let me know what will be the final date. You can discuss among yourself and you can let me know the final date of submission.
How long will the each demo mean?